AC Milan are the second most successful club in the history of Italian football, but their stock has fallen significantly over the last decade. The Rossoneri won the 2010-11 Serie A title, but they have lumbered from one crisis to another ever since, and haven't finished in Serie A's top 4 for 6 seasons. Unsurprisingly, given AC Milan's recent poor form, managers haven't tended to stick around for long. Since the start of 2014, 6 years ago, the club has had 10 different managers. Only 2 have lasted longer than a single season, and in this video, we're going to take a look back at the most recent 7, not including the current incumbent Stefano Pioli, who is naturally at AC Milan. Here are the last 7 AC Milan managers. Where are they now? Marco Giampaolo, unattached. Journeyman coach Marco Giampaolo hasn't stayed at many clubs for long, but his time at the San Siro was short-lived even by his standards. The Swiss-born but Italian-raised former midfielder, who spent most of his career in Serie C, was appointed by AC Milan having terminated his contract at Sampdoria. He took charge of just 7 games at the start of the season, winning 3 and losing 4 before being sent on his way. Oddly, his 42.86% win ratio is better than the man who replaced him, Stefano Pioli, who has won just 9 of his first 22 games in charge of the club. Giampaolo has been out of football since his dismissal at AC Milan. Gennaro Gattuso, Napoli. Gennaro Gattuso is the longest-serving AC Milan manager since Massimiliano Allegri, and as such, the longest-serving in this 7, despite the fact he spent less than 2 seasons as head coach at the San Siro. An AC Milan legend, having spent 13 seasons with the Italian Giants, during which time he won both the Scudetto and the Champions League twice, Gattuso stepped up from Milan's youth ranks to take charge of the senior side. He was appointed in November 2017, and having guided the club to a Coppa Italia final, the last 16 of the Europa League, and a 6th place finish in Serie A, he was handed a new deal running until 2021. He was sacked at the end of the 2018-19 season though, after finishing 5th, and he replaced Carlo Ancelotti at Napoli in December 2019. At the time of Serie A suspension this season, Napoli is 6th in Serie A, whilst AC Milan are in 7th. Vincenzo Montella, unattached. The second longest-serving AC Milan manager in this 7, Vincenzo Montella also arrived at the San Siro from Sampdoria, and he spent almost a season and a half in charge of the club. In his first season, Montella helped Milan to their first trophy and their highest league finish in 4 years. Over the following summer, he was trusted with the €200 million summer transfer kitty by the Rossoneri's new owners, bringing in the likes of Leonardo Bonucci and Andre Silva. Big things were expected of Montella's new side, but they won just 13 of their opening 23 games, and the manager was shown the exit door. He has since had even briefer stints at Sevilla and Fiorentina, but has been out of work since being sacked by the latter in December. Christian Brockie, Monza. Joining Marco Giampaolo in the managed AC Milan for 7 games gang, Christian Brockie has the lowest win percentage of any manager AC Milan have ever had. Like Gattuso, Brockie was promoted from the Rossoneri's youth ranks, and also like Gattuso, Brockie spent the bulk of his playing days at the San Siro. Born in Milan, the once-capped Italian international spent 13 seasons with AC Milan as a player, but he was only a regular fixture for 2 of them. Of his 7 games in charge of his boyhood club, Brockie won 2, drew 2, and lost 3. Since leaving the club, Brockie has managed Brescia, he served as an assistant manager at Jiangsu Suning, and he now manages Serie C side Monza, who are of course not to be confused with the app-based neobank Monzo. Sinisa Mihajlovic, Bologna. Former free-kick maestro Sinisa Mihajlovic played his best football in Serie A and has spent the majority of his managerial career within the Italian game as well. The third man to join AC Milan from Sampdoria as a manager in this 7, Mihajlovic, was appointed in June 2015 and lasted 1 season at the San Siro. The Rossoneri climbed from 10th the previous season up to 7th, but it still wasn't considered good enough to keep him in his job. Mihajlovic's most significant contribution at the San Siro may have been placing his trust in 16-year-old goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma, who is still Milan's number 1. The 51-year-old has since managed Torino and Sporting Club de Portugal, and he became Bologna manager for the 2nd time early in 2019. Last year, Mihajlovic was diagnosed with an acute form of leukemia, but he stayed on as manager of Bologna. Hopefully the Serbian great can overcome the nasty disease, and naturally, we wish him a speedy recovery. Filippo Inzaghi, Benevento. It seems that AC Milan only look to appoint managers from either their youth team or from Sampdoria, and with Filippo Inzaghi, it was the former. A prolific poacher who spent 11 years with the club prior to his retirement in 2012, Inzaghi went straight into coaching at the San Siro. It took just 2 years until Inzaghi, then aged 40, was handed the first team reins. He spent a season in charge of the club, but it wasn't a great one. AC Milan finished 10th, their worst league finish since the mid-90s, and Inzaghi was relieved of his duties. He has since managed both Venezia and Bologna, and he has been with Serie B side Benevento since the start of this season. Clarence Seedorf, unattached. Of the 7 managers in this video, 4 played for AC Milan themselves, and perhaps none finer than Clarence Seedorf. Such an elegant, intelligent and hard-working midfielder, Seedorf spent a decade at San Siro, where he became the only player to win the European Cup or the Champions League with 3 different teams. The Dutchman was approached about becoming AC Milan manager while still playing for Botafogo in Brazil, and he made an early retirement in order to take charge of his former club. 4 months later, when he was sacked by the club, he may have wondered if he made the right decision. Seedorf has only had brief appointments since then with Shenzhen, Deportivo La Coruña and Cameroon, and he is currently without a club. That's it for today's 7, thank you all for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and obviously, make sure you are subscribed to HITC Sevens.